Hello, everybody. Welcome into a Friday edition of the Computer America Show. It's our one-minute pre-show here on our live Computer America video streaming page. Tesoro is our guest for the first hour. They make gaming products. They make keyboards and mice, mechanical keyboards. They have some really cool gaming products, and they're here to talk to us about it. And then in the second hour, Ben and I will do computer and technology news. That's brought to you by Slimware Utilities. They are the official optimization software of Computer America. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Oh, we also have a show reminder winner of the week. That's all coming up, so stay tuned.
One minute until showtime. Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello, and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And it's Friday! You know,
All right.
there's something about Friday that makes that work. I don't know. We tried it with...
And oddly enough, we are, just the time of the show, it's, either people on the East Coast, they've already been out and or are still out partying, and then the people on the West Coast are just getting ready to go out partying. I mean, Friday's a good day.
We tried it with Wednesday, it didn't work. We tried it with It's Thursday, that didn't work. It's just something about Friday, it only makes sense, But welcome into a Friday edition of the Computer America Show. Because it is Friday, that means we're going to have a show reminder, winner of the week announced. Yep. And also, it's our last day of the Logitech contest. But don't worry, because as of Monday, we'll have a brand new one. But the crowd is so responsive, I have to tell you.
They're a good crowd.
Yeah, they are a good crowd. That's right. At midnight tonight, Eastern, we close down the Logitech contest where we're giving away the 3 great prizes. And we'll talk a little bit more of that in the second hour. And then and we'll have that. And then we'll draw the 3 winning names on Monday, and then we'll have a brand new contest again. But, why wait for another 6 weeks when you can get your entry in now? I know your entries are coming in, but if you haven't entered, go to our contest page at ComputerAmerica.com and get your entry in now, really. It makes perfect sense. It's free. It's no obligation. It's private. Just do it, okay? So before we get started with the show, it's Friday. How are things with you, Ben? What's going on? No, I can't hear you for some reason.
Oh, weird. No, everything's fine over here. I mean, didn't do anything special for Friday, but, just staying busy otherwise.
Yeah, our show last night, Linux show, we have all the links up. That was interesting, talking about Minecraft and Linux and running your own server. So if you get griefers, you can erase all the grief that they caused. It's just kind of interesting. I didn't know you could do that. But
video games, I mean, just that whole experiment, I mean, I think that's how a lot of people go from just your average gamer to, like, that's a good introductory to networking and how to set up a network and how to set up servers and server management. I mean, like, yes, you're still just doing it for a video game, and yes, you have to go online and just, watch videos and, find resources for yourself online. But I mean, otherwise, that's just only something you would pick up in a workplace somewhere, actually doing that. But it's a lot of people's first introduction to server management.
Yeah. Well, what a great way to learn,
Yeah.
and and seeing immediate results too. Well, and if you missed that, of course, you can listen to all of our shows at computeramerica.com under our archives pull-down menu. We have lots of places. I guess we can kind of formally announce it, although there's no indication about it. But we're going to be welcoming a brand new network to the Computer America broadcast. The deal is pretty much signed, it's done and everything. We just don't have anything up on our website yet to announce it. But for those of you listening tonight, we'll give you a little preview. If you're enjoying watching our live Computer America video stream that we do here on Computer America, because it's something now, it's been, how long have we been doing it now? It's been about a year, Ben?
The video stream?
Yeah.
Charles said I'll start it, it's a couple months. I'd say it's been, probably close to a year.
Yeah. Well, we have just inked a deal with Voice America TV. So starting in the next couple of weeks, you're going to be able to watch the live Computer America streaming video, which is on the Voice America TV website. So the crowd is happy about that.
Because, they saw Craig's face and they're like, yeah, face or radio, but, we'll try putting it on television.
Yeah.
So, we're hoping that works.
As we're getting the host getting insulted, but that's it.
It happens every night. Tune in.
Yeah, they liked your face, though, but you have the cherubic face. You have the face for TV, too. So
that's cherubic. Thank you. All the ladies go for the cherubic guys. They're flipping through the Calvin Klein, underwear models, and it's like, oh, look at that hunk. Oh, look at that cherub. What a cherubish figure he strikes. Yeah, thank you, Craig.
You have the little beard, which kind of covers it up, but I kind of like you without the beard.
Thank you. It's very Seth Rogen of me. I know.
I know. Yes, exactly. Well, Miami Vice brought it into style with the that's when it all started to happen. It became very fashionable. In the the mid '80s. Yeah.
Well, I'm not looking for the scruff. The scruff is a means to an end. I want something bushier and beardier. So.
Oh no.
You have to go for the step in between. You can't run every time you have scruff.
Yeah, your brother grew the full beard. I like him with that. I don't know why people want to get the beard. I mean, the face is so much nicer.
Have you ever had a beard in winter?
No.
It is mandatory.
Especially in Florida, and I don't think so.
Hey, winter in general.
Yeah,
it's beard weather. It's nice.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyhow, so much for our appearances, and you're going to be able to see us again on VoiceAmerica.tv. So we'll get all that when we get in place. It'll probably be coming up in the next few weeks. That'll be in place. So again, we're looking forward to that. But a little preview announcement of it. I was kind of excited about it, and I just want to let everybody know that yet another venue of distribution for the Computer America show, and we're very pleased to be on that network. Okay, well then, that said, let's get to our guest tonight. I know he's far away. He's in, I think, Taipei, I think it is. Anyway, he represents the company called Tesoro. Now, Tesoro is a high-tech manufacturer of gaming products such as keyboards and mice. You're going to like this because I know you're really into the gaming stuff. Tesoro strives to develop the world's best gaming gear to truly improve your gaming experience. Now, they don't follow standards. They set new limits over at Tesoro. And joining us in this hour is Tim Wang. Tim is a sales specialist for Tesoro. Tim, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
I'm good. How are you two doing?
I'm doing fine. But did I get it right? Are you in Taipei? Is that where you're located right now?
Yeah. It's actually around the suburb of Taipei, pretty close.
Okay. Well,
Yep.
Is there a name for the suburb where you're in? I mean.
They call it the new Taipei city, but it's actually just a city surrounded the Taipei.
Okay. All right. And it's daytime there. It's what, about 11 o'clock? You're saying now?
Yeah,
Afternoon?
just
It's
about
around,
11.
yeah, around 11. Okay. How's the weather there? Is it nice?
It's actually kind of cold, but depends how you say it. It's about 15 to 20 degrees, but
Oh,
it's quite cold for
yeah,
us.
that is cold. It's certainly not. Now, Ben, we can't hear you. Oh, yeah, it's not like Florida. Exactly. Um, it's a little colder. Um, so tell us a little bit about Tesoro. I mean, the manufacturer. What? Tell us a little about the company. How long have you been around? And just give us a background.
Well, to be honest, the our company actually were around since the very beginning of a lot of gaming peripherals, but the name Tesoro started around 2011, and our first product came out around 2012. Um, yeah, we actually probably a lot of people do not know, but we actually started a lot of new technologies in gaming peripherals. For example, on keyboards, the N key rollover, the RGB LEDs. We're actually the first brand to actually release these products.
Okay, and
Yeah.
and so you basically and you got into and all these game. You basically you started with all the different gaming products, correct? Like keyboards and mice.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Uh,
you make headsets and you have a lot of gaming.
What drew you to making gaming peripherals? Because I know it seems we've had plenty of them on the show, and it seems like people who make gaming peripherals, like it's not always about pushing the specs, but it's about, well, pushing the specs, but also that they themselves enjoy games. They've grown up around games and they just want to make something nice. Like, the people who were designing these things, like, were they gamers themselves and wanted to make a great product, or, I mean, what was the inspiration for Tesoro's equipment?
well, definitely gamers ourselves because the issue isn't to actually put give some products that are more premium than what's currently available on the market. And as gamers, we also see, like, of course, at the time there's a lot of products in the market that are just missing few features, things that we want and it's not on the market. So we decided to create a more premium brand with things that other people haven't even started using. For example, in end of 2012 and beginning of 2013, we released the first RGB keyboard. It's not similar to the RGB keyboard today, but it is actually the 16.8 million colors RGB keyboard as a whole thing.
Oh,
Also, yeah, and also we first started the N key rollover on USB connectors, which they didn't have before. It was usually around 6 key and rollover, which in some games, for example, like World of Warcraft and stuff like that, you just have so many keys to press, and sometimes you press too much, it just won't register. Things like that. We try to see, as ourselves, we see things that we need for the current products, like for example, keyboards, mouse, headsets, and we also research about what other gamers want.
okay.
Yeah.
Now, oh, by the way, you have to forgive me. I didn't give out the phone numbers before, so I usually do that. Let me just give that. If you have a question for my guest from Tesoro, you can call us at 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. I'll get you on and get you through. Email is live, at computeramerica.com. Please join us in our chat room. Just go to click the chat room button on our homepage at computeramerica.com. We'd like to see you in there. So tell me, so basically, one of the things that Ben really likes about his gaming keyboard is that it's what's known as a quote-unquote mechanical keyboard. What do you mean by mechanical keyboard, and why did Tesoro get into the mechanical keyboard game?
Well, first of all, the mechanical keyboards comes with like different switches, and it can actually satisfy gamers on what kind of touch or sense they want their feedback from the keyboard. Also, the good thing about the mechanical keyboard is it lasts way longer than the old mainbrain keyboards. So for gamers that's going to spend over $100 on a keyboard, of course they want a keyboard to last and something that they can use and adapt to for a very long time. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
sorry.
it's always been my experience with a mechanical keyboard when you hear that click clack 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 click clack clack clack. You always get that clacky clack going. Now, is that something desirable? Because it's wouldn't that be kind of distracting? A mechanical keyboard?
Well, there's some people actually like that kind of audio, audible feedback. You can
Yes.
just hear from it, whether you actually press down the key, but some people don't like it. There's different switches. For example, the very clicky ones, you said that's the blue switches.
Mhm.
There's also the brown switch. You get the same clicky feeling, but without the sound.
Okay.
And those people that just like prefer just like a very horizontal, not horizontal, vertical input, like without any bump and stuff in between, they prefer the red or the black switch.
Now, does Tesoro make all these use these different switches in your mechanical keyboards? I mean, what do you offer?
Well, actually, we offer all four kind of switches for all the models.
Oh, okay. So now, Ben, you what kind of switch do you have? You have a very odd. What kind do you have?
I have actually the red switches. They're very loud and they're actually my favorite. But I mean, to kind of your point where you're like, well, it's very loud. I usually can't hear the sound of the switch over me yelling at the person I'm killing at the moment. So, the audio really isn't a problem. And plus, it really is just knowing that you press it. Sometimes, when you're in the heat of the moment, you can either hear the click or you feel the resistance on your finger. Mechanical keyboards are just so much better for gaming, in a lot of ways. So, but I personally, though, I've never tried any of the other switches, so I kind of want to know what the difference is between these switches. I've only ever used red myself, so there was like blue and black and one other.
There's also brown.
Brown. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So why don't you describe it? What are the different characteristics of those switches, Tim?
Just like Ben said, the red switch is actually a very straight down. There's no tactile feedback. It's really light and really fast response. It bounces back up really quickly. So it's very good for very fast action gamers. Like they have to type things out really, really fast, or they just have to input like maybe a few hundred or thousands of actions per minute and stuff like that. There's also the black switch, which is very, very similar to the red switch, but it's actually heavier. So for people that actually likes to smack their keyboards really hard, black switch is probably what's suitable for them. As for the blue and brown switches, the blue switch and the brown switch both have a tactile feedback when you type them, except the blue switch is louder. It got like this very loud click to it, and the brown switch is much more quiet.
What was that I just saw floating in front of your face, Ben? What was
that was something different.
Okay.
Yeah, I was wondering about that as well.
Long answer, shower head. Short answer, I don't know. No, but all those different switches. I mean, I guess the type of switch that you're going to look for, it really depends on what kind of game you're playing. Because if it's something real-time strategy-wise or something like that, Civilization or one of those other kind of games, you're going to want, probably a brown switch or something like that. Whereas if you're playing, League of Legends, World of Warcraft, one of these faster Twitch games, red or blues even, like is all the switches just to, so the gamer can customize what they want from their keyboard?
Yeah. So basically, just gamers can see what kind of switches they prefer, because of course maybe even some prefer the mainboard keyboards, but I don't think that would be much problem, because actually for me the mainboard keyboards is a lot of strain on my fingers, because the way it requires a lot of force press down and it suddenly just release the whole thing, stuff like that. So personally I think after using mechanical keyboards it's just a lot more comfortable even for like long time gaming.
Let's describe to me what the difference is. Red is probably the first one. That's the loudest and the most direct and keyboard. Then what is the next one? Blue.
Yeah. The blue is it gives you a tactile feeling. So when you press the key halfway, it gives you like this kind of click feeling to it, and it also gives this clicky sound when you press your key halfway. That's how it needs to actually send out the signal to your computer. Not all the way. Yeah.
So the red one, you have to press it all the way down. The blue one, you only have to press it halfway down, is what you're saying?
No, actually, most of the mechanical switches it's around halfway down, but it's just that the blue actually gives you a feedback on when it actually enough for the distance you press.
Oh, in other words, the red one, you're getting no feedback until you push it all. When you press the red one down all the way, you'll hear a click when it goes all the way down.
Yeah, when your key switch just hit the right at the bottom. But the blue switch actually gives you a tick sound on halfway.
Oh, does the tick sound also mechanical, or is that electronic? But that's is that a mechanical sound as well? That tick sound.
Mechanical sound.
Okay, so the red one you have to have full throw. The blue one is like half throw. You're going to get the tick. Okay.
It's actually called the actuation, I think.
Actuation.
For the keyboard to register the key you pressed.
Okay.
It's usually halfway, but the red switch actually don't give you a feedback until you press it all the way down.
All the way down. Red, you have the red one, right? Okay. All right. So then, all right. So then the blue. Then what's the next one after the blue?
There's also the brown one.
The brown one. Okay. Now what does the brown one do?
The brown one's similar to the blue one. It gives you a tactile feedback on your finger when you press it halfway down, but it does not have the mechanical clicky sound.
Oh. So
it's like a silence version of the blue switch.
Really? Okay. Now why would you want why would you want that?
Because you want to preserve a marriage and you don't want to wake someone the entire time you're gaming.
Oh, okay. So if sound, you don't want the sound, but you still want the sensitivity, then you go to the brown switch. Okay.
Yes, but if you want to drive your coworkers crazy at work, then you use the blue switch.
You take the blue pill. I see. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Exactly. And if you take the red switch, though, you see how far the rabbit hole goes. Yes. Okay. I understand. All right. And then the last one is is red, blue, and brown the mechanical ones, or is there a fourth one? A mechanical.
There's also a black switch. Black switch is very similar to the red switch, except it just requires more force to push down, to press the switch.
Okay. Now, wouldn't that make your fingers tire more quickly, having to push down harder on the switch, or is there a reason for that? What's the thought behind the black switch?
Well, it's let's say it's harder for you to actually mispress the switch if it's slightly heavier than the regular red switch. I'm the kind of person that actually mispress the keys a lot, but with the black switch, actually it's harder for you to mispress the switch, and also it's like people like learning to play piano. They don't like to use the keyboard because it's like lighter. They like to use usually grand piano because you can actually put force, emotion into the keyboards, without actually worrying it break. It's not like the red switch will break, but it just gives you, let's say, somewhere to put more force into.
So in other words, if you're resting your fingers on the red switch, there's a chance that you might actually depress it. With the black switch, you can kind of rest your fingers on the keyboard without worrying about accidentally pushing a switch.
Yeah.
Sort of. Okay.
Good for people who like to fat finger their controls.
What do you think, Ben? The way of these four? Yeah, I know you said you'd like to try them, but you think the black switch? Do you find yourself mispressing with the red switch more?
No, because I'm amazing. But I know other people who are not me who continuously, especially in a game like League of Legends, where you may only have 5 or 6 buttons to press at a time, and each one of them has like a 2 or 3 minute cooldown. You fat finger something, it could lose you, the game pretty much. So something like that. If you're clumsy, that would definitely. If you're clumsy, I mean, a mechanical keyboard, any of them would be the best way to go. And then I guess if you're even more so, go for the black switches.
So
me.
So what you're saying then, what I'm gathering, what you're saying, Ben, is that if you are a gamer aficionado and you're really expert, then the keyboard of choice is the one with the red switches, not the black.
Again, it's all about what you want. I mean, Timir, he said that he liked membrane keyboards, which is not mechanical at all, and that's a perfect way to go. The best keyboard out there is whichever one you use and you prefer. I mean, if you play just as well as anyone else, people can be traditionalists, people can be snobs about it, but any keyboard that you perform well on is the best keyboard for you. But that being said, I mean, a lot of people seem to prefer mechanical, and then I just prefer, fast twitch. So red is my, favorite. It's all about preferences, and it sounds like Tesoro has them all covered, which is perfect.
Now, obviously, this sounds to me like something, Tim, that you really have to try to find out which is best for you. So before someone orders, can someone go and try out this keyboard, or basically they have to take it on faith? Say, okay, I really don't know, but I'm gonna have to try the brown one. Or I'm gonna try the blue one. I mean, is there any way to test this out before?
Usually I would recommend gamers to actually go to a physical shop to try out the switches, what kind of switch they like, and usually in shops they build this kind of it's like a 4 key thing, so you have a different key for different switch, so you can actually just press it and see what kind of feel you like to it. For me personally, before I use black switch because I like the very heavy feel to it, but then actually the one I used at work was black switch, but then it's kind of too heavy, so I switched to a red switch, and it's a lot better. It's just a lot lighter, less strain on my fingers.
So
But maybe some, with like stronger fingers, they're probably okay with the black switch.
okay, so now these four color the red, the blue, the brown, and the black, are these industry standards? This is not something exclusive to Tesoro. All keyboard manufacturers use those colors as a a guideline. Are they all basically using those four different types of switches? Mechanical.
Yeah, more or less all the mechanical keyboards have distinguished their feedback or their switches based on these 4 colors. I mean, of course, some brands have different colors, but they're more or less the same with any one kind of these 4 switches.
Okay, so it's sort of an industry standard, and the only way to know what kind of switch you have is what, pry the keycap off and see what the and see this color of the switch. How do you know what color switches you have in your keyboard?
Well, if you're really used to typing on different keyboards, like me, I can just type it and I'll get it which kind of switch it is. But the easiest way is just pull it out to make sure. But it's really easy to pull it out, so.
No, you just pop off one.
That is another thing that mechanical keyboards might get overlooked. Keyboards, I mean, I know mine. I like potato chips and other snack foods, and I eat them over my keyboard all the time. Keyboards can get grungy. I mean, I've seen some gross ones, and I wouldn't want to touch other people's keyboards with a 10-foot stick. It gets gross. Mechanical keyboards, really nice. Pop off all your buttons, wash them all. Put them in a tub with a little bit of bleach, a little bit of water, and then you can put all your keys back on your keyboard, and it looks like the day you bought it. I mean, you really can't do that with laptop keys because they're attached. So.
So wait a minute. Are you saying that the mechanical keyboards are washable? You can actually put liquids on them without shorting them out?
No, you can pop the keys off.
Yeah, I know, and then use some sort of a cleaner to clean.
And then you wipe the actual keyboard, and then you wash the keys separately in a tub, and then.
Oh, the keycaps. Yeah. Okay.
There are some waterproof ones though, right?
Not that waterproof that you can throw it into a washing machine, but
no.
But definitely you can wipe it with like a wet cloth or something. It's
I thought
okay.
that there were some mechanical keyboards that were like water resistant. Like if you spill like a glass of water on your keyboard, it won't short out and die.
I'm not sure about this though. I haven't actually looked into it, but
what about
yeah,
compressed air? Using compressed air to blow the blasted out. Of course, that would help.
Yeah, that's what I use. Vacuum cleaners. Just with the brushy top thing on, and then just wipe the whole thing, and then run a few times. It's pretty clean.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me ask you this now. So we're kind of talking about the mechanical keyboards, but let's go back to Tesoro and tell us why Tesoro makes these gaming peripherals such as mice and headsets and mechanical keyboards as your main focus. Well, why are you doing that?
Well, one of the things is that we realize these are the things that will affect the performance of gamers the most. Definitely, the skills and the experiences and stuff matters, but these are things that, for example, you get a very comfortable mouse, you get keys that you're really comfortable with, and these are the things that will affect a gamer's performance. Also, their comfortability on playing games the most. Other things like, for example, monitors and stuff, we think that these are actually a lot faster in terms of the moving technology. You see like people get these virtual reality stuff like Oculus Drift and stuff instead of monitors very quickly, but keyboard, mouse, headset is something that gamers don't replace that easily. And be able to make a very premium gaming peripherals, it gives person use it, let's say maybe 3, 4, even 5 years or even more, that they don't have to change the they don't have to change something they're really used to.
Okay.
Yeah.
And okay.
That's about where I'm at. I have some gaming stuff, and even though yes, this Christmas I did get a new keyboard and mouse and things like that, I'm just so used to what I have, and I'm about 3 years into this one, and admittedly, some of the paint's wearing thin on some of the keys, but I mean it's easily gone through a couple million press or at least a couple 10,000 presses on these keys, and they're still going strong.
So you haven't used your new Christmas keyboard yet?
No.
You haven't reserved if you do need it, right?
Yeah, just if I need it. But
Okay.
I mean, it's not just oh, this one's newer, this one's nicer. It's about what you're comfortable on if you're a gamer. So
Okay.
it does matter. It matters.
Yeah, exactly. So now we're going to get into the types of keyboards that you make and the different versions. But when we come back, I also want to talk to you a little what separates Tesoro from the competition, because Ben mentioned there are a lot of peripheral manufacturers out there. So I want to speak on that as a little bit. But in the meantime, we're going to take a short break. This is the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network, and the IRN Radio Network. Ben and I are talking to Tesoro. We're talking to Tim Wang, who is a sales specialist with Tesoro. We are also going to have, it's the last day of the week, so you're going to hear the News Test Bulletin Review from Marty Winston. We've got those, and we'll have a new one on Monday. We're going to take a short break, and then we'll be right back. You're listening to the Computer America Show. Stay with us.
Hey everyone, have you heard about the No hair removal device that's sweeping the globe? If you want to go weeks without shaving and get smooth, professional quality results, here's our favorite host, Cheryl, for No hair removal.
Thanks. Hey gals, I love talking about my No. It's this cute little hair removal system that you can take with you and use almost anywhere at home or on the road. No more expensive in-office treatments, painful waxing, and no more wasting your valuable time. Got unwanted facial hair? No has patented thermocon technology that works on all hair and skin colors, so it's perfect for using on all body parts. And now you can take advantage of this incredible risk-free trial. Get the No, the facial kit, a travel case, and a $100 discount shopping card, and you don't risk a penny to try it. Try the incredible No hair completely risk-free. Call 1-800-953-5415. That's 800-953-5415. 800-953-5415.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Here we go again. It's Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the ScanSnap iX100 mobile scanner. Our favorite SheetPad desktop scanner is a Fujitsu ScanSnap model, so when they told us about their iX100, we said send it. It's entirely portable. Charged through a USB port, that's one option for connecting it to Windows or a Mac. The other is Wi-Fi, which gets even more interesting when you team it up with one of its apps for Android or iOS. It's a little smaller than, think rectangular solid, 1.5 inches by 2 inches, kind of squarish, by 11 inches, less than a foot long, and it unfolds the cover to become its paper pad. It comes with the same ScanSnap software suite to allow immediate scans to any of a variety of formats, including options using OCR, optical character recognition, turning those shapes of words into actual words. Bottom line, the very portable ScanSnap iX100 is a small and lightweight road companion that can easily save more than its own weight in the paper you don't have to take along. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. Bottom of the hour here, and we are, talking to Tesoro all about their gaming peripherals, mainly focusing on the mechanical keyboard since those make such a big difference. If you haven't ever, went out and tried one, even if, maybe you're not a gamer, maybe you just use a computer a lot, mechanical keyboards, they last a very long time, and you should definitely check them out. Even though they're made for gamers, they're also made to be used and just last a really long time. So, just like if you wanted to buy a pair of tennis shoes, you go out and you buy some runner shoes, from an actual athletic store, they're going to last you much longer than just a cheap one from, Walmart. It's, that's just the way gaming keyboards are. Buy them from a proper manufacturer, and they'll reward you with some good time. But we have Tim Wang here, and we were just about to get into, first of all, I guess the first question is, what sets you apart from your competition? I mean, everyone knows the big names like there's Razer, Thermaltake, a couple others that I'm currently blocking, but I mean, Logitech, that's right. It's not a huge market, like it's not flooded with fly-by-night companies, and you guys have been around for a long time. So I mean, what kind of sets you apart in such a narrow yet contested market?
Well, first of all, it's that we seek what the market, the gamers want. We get a lot of feedbacks from a lot of gamers and also most of the employees at Tesoro, because we're all gamers ourselves. So we also have our own ideas on what we need, and we also get feedback from some very top gamers in the world. Name it, like for example Navy and stuff like that. We also seek their opinions, what they need, what is needed for the market, and we don't say that okay, this technology is not here, we can't do it. We try to break the rule. We say okay, this is what people need, and we'll try to make it. Yeah, so that's how we actually came up with a lot of the newer technologies when our keyboards came out. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about some of the keyboards that you have different ones with different names. Like for example, you have the Durandal Ultimate. You've got you've got the Tizona. You've got the Excalibur, the Durandal Esport. So which one do you want to start with? And all these different keyboards here. What would you suggest?
I would. I mean, in terms of suggestion, or I would like to introduce first.
Yeah, well, introduce first. I mean, let's face it. I mean, you've got some really cool-looking keyboards here. The one that I'm looking here is the is it the Tizona? I'm thinking of, no, yeah, the Tizona is one that I'm looking at. Where's the one it's got the metallic one that has like a I'm trying to see which one it is here because you have so.
It's the Colada with the aluminum.
Saint.
The Colada Saint. Okay, yeah, the Colada Saint. That looks really slick. Tell us about this keyboard.
Okay. The Colada Saint, it's actually aluminum version of the Lobera. These two are very similar, except the Colada Saint and the Colada Evo, the top cover is actually make a whole piece of aluminum. Yeah, so actually for this keyboard, a lot of people believe that it's overpriced in terms of aluminum keyboard because other companies have aluminum keyboards and etc. But the fact that they're missing out is that this keyboard actually have two pieces of metal in it, not just one with the key switches. There's actually the top cover, the whole piece is made of aluminum. And it's really good. That's the one I'm using at the office at the moment. It's really good for your hands because it's nice and cool. It stops your hands from sweating that much. Yeah. Also, Colada comes with 4 switches, like all other keyboards. You have all the 4 switches to choose from. This keyboard I also have instant macro record option to it. So basically, you don't need the software to record your macros. You just press the key on the top right corner, select the key you want to record, and then just type in your macro and then save it.
Wow.
So it's actually very easy to use if you don't like actually downloading a software for the keyboard. It's very convenient, and also with most of the keyboards have onboard memories, so your settings, your macros will be saved on the keyboard. So when you play on a different computer or you move it to your laptop, stuff like that, it just plug and play. No download or install, whatever needed.
Yeah, and it's trimmed with this very cool blue LED stripe that lights up. It's a very sexy looking keyboard, and it looks awesome. And then the sister or the brother to that is the Collada Evil, which is again where that one it looks like.
Wait, did you say evil?
Evil, yeah, the Collada Evil.
So like it's the same thing with like a goatee, right?
No.
Well,
instead of the stripe around the keyboard, the keys themselves glow blue. It looks like on this one, and
well, the Collada Saint actually has a white LED to it, and the Collada Saint, Collada Evo, is the black version of the Collada Saint, but with the blue LEDs.
Okay, but functionally, they're both aluminum mechanical gaming keyboards.
Yes, the functions are the same.
Okay, they just look. One is black and one is silver. So
yes.
Or the Saint or the Evil. Okay, I understand this. I would have liked to sit in the marketing team. They were coming up to name these things, what they were thinking. But okay.
Well, you know, like Tesoro is actually means treasure in Spanish.
Uh-huh.
So it's a feel like, you know, a treasure is meant to be something that you get it and then it gives you an advantage over something else. And then with our keyboards and all other products, we try to name it after like legendary weapons or armors, stuff like that.
Right.
So for example, we also have the version called Excalibur, which is probably the most well-named legendary sword.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's that also is illuminated mechanical keyboard, but this one looks more conventional. It's rectangular in shape. It has less. It seems to like have less bling, I guess is the best way. It's less bling. It looks more straight. And this is designed. Tell us about this keyboard, the Excalibur.
Okay. Excalibur is probably our most well-sold keyboard, and out of all the
Really?
ranges. Yeah, because simply it's because of the price. I think in US it's about $89.
Yes.
Which is probably slightly more expensive than like most low-end keyboards, but this keyboard I won't really call it low-end because the functions that this keyboard has, it's competitively better than most low-end keyboards, and it's actually, you know, comparable to high-end keyboards with its functions. This keyboard has you can set macros to it, and it has onboard memories, it has LEDs. So basically, it's impossible to find a keyboard with all these features at this price range. That's why it sells out so well, and it's just a very good keyboard for gamers that just want to start trying mechanical keyboards, and it's cheap, and then you can also get most of the functions you get with a high-end keyboard.
Okay. Now, getting back to some of the more the next one, which looks very, very similar to your Collada, but it's called the Lobera Supreme. This looks like a similar shape and design, but it looks like the LEDs change color here. And tell us about the Lobera.
Okay. The Lobera is actually more or less like the plastic version of the Collada, except this is probably the most innovative keyboard last year. It's the only keyboard with 3 color LEDs in one LED. So this is actually the first RGB keyboard on the market.
Okay. All right. And, very nice looking. It seems it has the different Now, do the colors just shift because they don't really, do they impart any information, or basically it's just it's eye candy, the colors?
Well, you can basically select the color is actually more like a profile indicator. So we have 5 gaming profile and 1 PC profile, and
Okay,
you can set colors for these profiles to any colors you want. So
got
when you
it.
switch the profiles, the backlight will actually switch to the color that the profile is assigned to.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
That
and also you can put like a breathing mode, like breathing color changing mode. So every time it dims, it comes back up with a different color, stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's really nice. I mean, just coming from maybe playing one game and switching over playing another immediately, you don't have to readjust all of your settings. It's really helpful with mice more so because I do like the like you move your mouse so far, and then the mouse on your screen moves so far, latency or something like that. Anyways, you set them up differently, and the color changes for the profiles. That's perfect because you'll have maybe red set to one game, green set to another game. That way you can just jump from one game to another without having to finagle your settings along the way.
And you can, and you know immediately what mode you're in by the color of the keys that you're using, which is
Yep.
You have so many different keyboards here, and now another one that I'm looking at here is like the Durandal, and you have the Durandal Ultimate, which I guess is the top of the line of the Durandal, because you have the Durandal eSport, the Durandal MOBA, and just it's plain Durandal, and then the Ultimate. So tell us about the Durandal line and what all these different versions of the Durandal are.
Okay, Durandal is actually our first mechanical keyboard that Tesoro produced. So it's our classic model.
Huh.
When it first came out, the Durandal basically is a very simple mechanical keyboard without too much functions, but the build, the quality, it's very good. Then we saw the market decides LED backlighting for the keyboard, so we made the Durandal Ultimate, which comparing to the Durandal, it actually has a lot more features. It has onboard memories. You can set macros to save in these memories. There's also USB and audio jack on the back of the keyboard, so you don't have to go all the way to the back of your computer to plug or unplug USBs.
That's nice.
Yeah, and also the Durandal Ultimate will also provide the wrist rest. Since it is for some gamers that having a wrist rest is just more comfortable. And then we evolved the Durandal Ultimate into the mobile and eSport version. Basically, in the mobile version, it's just a silver version of the Durandal Ultimate. And the eSport version, however, it's slightly more different. In this keyboard, Durandal eSport, it actually has 2 kind of switches instead of just one switch the whole way. The main letters, it's red switch. Letters and the numbers are the red switch, and the controls spacebar, F1 to F12 is actually black switch. So it's a combination of 2 kind of switches.
Now, what's the purpose behind that?
Well, there's a few reasons we do this. First of all, it's like the controls and stuff. You don't want to press. It's not going to be pressed that often, and you don't want to mispress it. So we actually set it to black switch, and the main typing area, the numbers and the letters. So we make it red switch, so it actually gives you a faster response and less strains on your fingers on the main number keys, main letters and numbers.
Hey Ben, I'm looking at this Durandal Sport. This is kind of cool. Would you find that to be attractive, where the letters and numbers are the red switches, but the keys that are less inclined to press would be the black switches?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just going to what Ben thinking.
No, it makes perfect sense. I mean, when I'm playing games, depending on which one I'm playing, maybe I'll use all the keys from, just QWER and then ASWD, things like that, and then all the other keys really don't matter, but they still, maybe I'm not pressing them once every couple seconds, but rather once every couple minutes. I mean, if they're hard to press and they're important, that's way better than just accidentally fat fingering what you don't want. I mean, that would actually be something that I would be probably more reliable to use.
Okay, all right.
And I know, it's people who would just use a keyboard as a keyboard, they're probably shaking their heads thinking, oh my God, these guys are way too into keyboards. I
Yeah.
mean, it makes a difference. It's, you go up to a car guy and you say, well, their tires, as long as they're not flat, they're good. I
Well,
mean, but you go to a professional racer and the type of tire matters every little detail. So it's kind of the same thing.
you can expand that analogy to sports. I mean, golf clubs. You know how many different types of golf clubs there are? Oh, I just need a set of golf clubs to hit the ball. No, I mean there are very specialized types of clubs. They're all. I mean, a wood is a wood, and a number seven iron is a number seven iron. But there are so many different things or characteristics about golf clubs that professionals will want to use. I mean, tennis rackets. You know how many tennis types, or even baseball bats. They're all different types of things that professionals can take advantage of. And why should it be any different for computer peripherals for professional gamers or gamers? I think this makes perfect sense. We see this happen in all other walks of life where a particular sport uses very specialized types of equipment, and I think that should apply to gamers. So this makes perfect sense. And then we have another one here called the Tizona. The Tizona seems a little bit more plain than the other ones, mechanical. Now, what's the story about the Tizona?
Actually, this is my most favorite keyboard when I came to Tesoro.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because it actually looks really plain, but the idea involved in making this keyboard is just amazing. Um, I mean, having an 80% keyboard and with the ability to attach numpad on either side of the keyboard is just great. And even you don't use the numpad, you have a USB port on both sides to just
Okay, sure.
to plug in anything you want, and then it's just on the market. There's just nothing comparable to this. I mean, in terms of an 80% keyboard, um, and also the thumb keys. It's actually quite interesting, because for Tizona, the regular Tizona, there's only two modes. There's gaming mode and there's PC mode. What the gaming mode does is actually it turns off your window key, so you don't accidentally press it during gaming.
Huh.
And also on the thumb keys, it actually sets up to be the slash and star and minus sign on the numpad,
Uh-huh.
because it's an 80% keyboard, so you don't actually have the numpad, but you can actually use these three keys to assign assign keys in a game.
Yeah, exactly. It makes sense.
Yeah, and then in the PC mode, these three keys actually represent your default browser, your default mailbox, and your default media player.
Wow.
And I just think this is just a very very amazing idea behind this keyboard. Although it looks really plain, but the idea itself it's really good.
Yeah, it's interesting because the other ones are all glowing. They have this, and this is like it's a plain game. But as you say,
Hotkeys help, getting around your computer. So, I mean, just having another pad dedicated to hotkeys, it could be really helpful.
right now.
Yeah, and then you can put the pad on either side of the keyboard. So, even for example, the PAX Prime I went to last year, there's a lot of people actually asking about this keyboard, and a lot of them is actually designers, graphic designers that required a numpad to set with different macros or short keys. They're just so into this numpad, mechanical keyboard numpad, that can you can use it with the 80%, or you could just use it on yourself. I don't think this is currently available on any other brand on the market. I think this is we're the only one who actually made the 20% keyboard that would be able to use standalone.
Right.
Mm.
Well, I'll tell you what. We're running out of time here. I want to try to get as many as I can. Let's go to mice here, and I'm looking at a couple of the mice here. The Gandiva is an exquisite-looking little mouse. Tell us about the Gandiva.
Okay. The Gandiva is basically designed it's designed for FPS players. So this mouse is really really light, and the profile is rather low comparing to the other mice. So you get this feeling that your hand is more flatter to the surface, so it gives you more control over your mouse instead of having a very high mouse that it might tilt left and right. And also there's a lift out sensor, so I don't play that much of CS, but from my understanding, it's a lot of CS players when they move their mouse very quickly, they have to lift out their mouse and move to another position to spin the mouse again. With the lift up control to it, basically when you lift up your mouse, even with a slight distance, the sensors will stop working. So when you lift up the mouse and put it on another location, your mouse in a game or the cursors on the screen will not move around. Which
Right.
a lot of other keyboards have this issues when they lift up their mouse.
Right, and I see that you actually have a video where you're showing him the mouse is tilted to the right and it's off the table, and you're still getting the accuracy. I mean, this is a beautiful looking mouse. It's got the 8 programmable buttons, laser sensor. You have 5 different profiles. That's important for games. Full color LED illumination, and again, it is a corded mouse. I think you'll find most of the mice, gaming mice, you want it corded. I think most gamers prefer corded mice, as Ben is quick to point out. And then you have, again, we've got the Gungnir, which is an optical gaming mouse. Really.
First gaming mouse, by the way, I've ever seen. Gamers, they're let's face it, they're mostly males, they're mostly young. 18 to 20, 18 to 25 would not be a bad age range. Especially for the professionals, very male heavily dominated, and yet the Gungnir, hopefully that's somewhere right. It has a very nice soft purple color. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This mouse is actually quite comfortable, but there is people that doesn't, gamers that probably does not prefer this kind of color that much. I mean, there's both sides. I personally think it's okay, but due to the request, we're actually making a black one very soon.
Really?
Yeah. A black one with rubberized finish to it. And it's actually cheaper than this one.
And then you have the Shrike Black, and then you have the Shrike. There are what we're going to suggest is you really go to the Tesoro website. Just here. What you do is you go to our Computer American. Just go to our show notes page. You'll see today's show, which is January the 16th, and we have a link to Tesoro. It's Tesoro Tech, TESOROTEC, tesorotech.com. But we have the link right there in our show notes page, and check out all these equipment because we didn't get to the headsets and to some of the other keyboards. We can talk about it, but you really need to go see them. And the best thing is to go to the Tesoro website and check them out for yourself. What price range do the keyboards go, and what price range do the mice go, Tim?
The keyboard would be from the around 80, 89, 79 range to up to the about 169 for the Colada, 169 or 79 for the Colada.
Okay. And
for the mice, it's around the new Gungnir is actually around 29 to up to 59.
Well, very very price competitive, no question about that. And yeah, exactly. And certainly something you should check out. I guess there's so many variabilities. It's like anything else, whether it be tennis equipment, tennis rackets, golf clubs. The only way you're going to really know is check it out for yourself. I mean, that's really, I think, the only way to do this is to check it out for yourself and see, try them out and then make the commitment. Now, if somebody buys the keyboard and they want to try a different one, I mean, do you have a return policy? What do you do?
In US, I believe there is a return policy. I think just with most of the purchase in US, I believe there is like a 7-day or something, 14 days return policy in United States. It's just same as everything else.
Okay, all right. Okay.
And as the warranty, it's one. It depends on places, and for US, I believe it's 1 year.
Okay, all right. Okay. That's and what do you think? We got about 2 minutes left. What do you think the gaming market will be? What do you see in the future for Tesoro?
Future of Tesoro. Actually, we are pretty soon releasing some really new competitive products that actually, for now, I think I have to keep quiet because it's rather not ready to be announced yet. But also we'll. Not just keyboards, we're going to head into more of a all-range kind of products. We're also planning to release more of a branded products for esports teams. We already have one for Virtus Pro. In future, we're actually considering to make even more, but these are just things that gamers want. And that's what we do. We give gamers what they want.
Can't go
well,
wrong with
listen,
that.
we're no, you can't go wrong with it. Listen, Tim, we're pretty much out of time. I want to thank you so much at TESO.com, but I just said head over to our show notes page at computeramerica.com and use products pro. They really look slick. They really do look amazing. And if you're looking for functionality and I think that will
Functionality and style, form and function in one.
Thank you.
No, I really did. They look amazing, and you know they. Oh, I guess they look amazing. I mean, the price point is right where it needs to be. They look like great products.
Yeah, I'll just say really look forward to 2015. We're releasing some really interesting products and really competitive products in the future. So I think people should just keep an eye on it. They might be surprised from what we can actually give them.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll do.
We'll do. All right, Tim. Thanks for being here with us on Computer America. All right, and thank you for being.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for inviting me.
Our pleasure.
So there.
Have a good night.
Have a good.
Okay.
night.
Have a good night too. Bye.
All right. Bye. All right. Coming up in hour 2, we're going to have our computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And let's see, we're also going to have our show reminder winner of the week. That's all coming up in hour 2. So you're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network, and the IRN Radio Network. We've got computer and technology news coming up next. You're listening to the Computer America Show, and we will be right back with more. Stay with us.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. But there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@ComputerAmerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest running nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I am your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
What's happening? I attempted to download that entire list of computer and technology news stories, and it's overwhelmed the feed. But you know what I'm going to have to do, I think, in anticipation, is just load like 3 or 4 stories at a time. I just loaded all 20 stories, and it's just freaking out the computer. So that's what I did. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, we had Tesoro on the first hour, and thanks to
Tesoro, by the way.
Yes, Tesoro. Thanks to them for being with us.
TESORTEC.com.
Tesoro Tech is the website.
It's just the way that you're inflecting it. It makes it sound like you're saying Tesoro, and you know that's TESER. It's OR. There's 2 O's in it.
Tesoro.
Tesoro.
Tesoro. Yes.
There you go.
Tesoro. Okay. Yeah.
Got to say it right.
Okay. Good. All right. Yeah, you do. All right. So we're gonna do some computer and technology news, and again. This is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. We're also going to have our show reminder winner of the week. We're going to announce that too. I think, oh, by the way, let me just mention again that this is the last hour to forget your contest entry for our Logitech contest. We're giving away 3 great prizes at Logitech. At 12 midnight Eastern time tonight, we shut it down. We'll start it again on Monday, but in the meantime, we're going to close this. So you have, and a lot of entries are coming in. I know that you're doing it, but if you want to get the entry in for the current one, you're going to have to get your entry before midnight tonight here. Okay. All right. So that said, let's do some computer news. Okay. Unless you have anything else.
No, should be good to go.
All right. Well, let's do some news. Tonight's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system for free. And this first story is from Maximum PC by Ben Kim. Free alternatives to Photoshop. The best free photo editing software, according to Maximum PC. He says it's hard to justify paying for photo editing software like Photoshop if you're not a professional. Fortunately, there are a ton of capable free alternatives, and he names a few of them here. We'll just kind of throw them out here. Paint, Microsoft Paint. Well, that's been around since every version of Windows that I can remember. But if you try to adjust contrast or sharpness, you're going to find Paint severely lacking. There's also a lack of layer features, So Paint is good for what it is. If you're looking for a simple way to crop, rotate, resize, that should be fine. But and it's free. Hey, it comes with Windows.
But that's exactly it. It's just for those quick, too many people. It seems like for some reason, whenever they put a picture up, and maybe they took it, from the side to get more of the picture in the viewfinder, and like they put it on the side, and then, but every other picture in their camera is the other way. It seems like no one knows how to rotate that one photo. And the easiest way is either in Paint or, if you're using Windows, it's like the image viewfinder or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, flipping a picture around, not that hard. Paint, easy way to do it.
Okay. The next one he recommends is GIMP, which is sort of like the Audacity of photo editors. It's been around forever, and it has it has the clone tool, the healing tool, and a magic wand style fuzzy select tool. It has a vast library of additional plugins, but the author goes on to say that if anything, the sheer power of GIMP is its greater downfall, because as much as GIMP mimics the Photoshop, it's a program with a massive barrier to entry. In other words, Photoshop veterans might feel at home, but unaware users will need to spend time exploring the program. So if you're not a professional, GIMP might be overkill for you, really is what he's saying. The next one he recommends is Paint.net. He says where it began to set itself apart from the others is its user interface. At first glance, it meshes well with the modern aesthetics of Windows 8, individual toolbars. Each is clearly labeled. He says, but if you value ease of use and aesthetics over raw power, then Paint.net is an amazing alternative to Photoshop. Those are his suggestions. Then he has two more that he suggests. Is the Pixlr editor. This is Autodesk entry into this. It's called Pixlr, P-I-X-I-R.
I would think it's Pixlr. Like Pixel and then
Pixlr.
so.
Oh yeah, you're right, Pixlr. P-I-X-L-R. It's available for free as a web app with native apps available for a wide variety of platforms. He says, unlike both Paint.net and GIMP, Pixlr editor exists entirely online. See, it's in the cloud. Everything you do is in the cloud. So, if you don't have a problem with that, then it supports layers, has many options shared by GIMP and Paint.net and Photoshop. He says the differences are pretty much largely unimportant. So he says it's a prize contender. It's capable, fast, it's free, and works without any sort of installation because, again, it operates primarily in the cloud. Here's another one that's been around for a long time, Picasa. This is Google's entry into it. He's saying Picasa is not exactly a photo editor as much as it's a photo management tool with rudimentary editing capabilities. This sounds a lot like on the Mac iPhoto. It's not a super editing product, but if you have a lot of pictures that you want to manage and keep them all in one place, you can do that. And then if you want to do some clean touch-ups, some cropping, it's certainly not a Photoshop or a Paint.net or a GIMP, but it works just fine for people looking for photo managers with some basic editing options built into it. And again, it's free. It's Picasa. It's from Google. And then the last one, the second to last one is Photoshop Express Editor. He says, this is about as far from the real Photoshop experience as possible. He says still there are a lot of good reasons that users would gravitate toward this. He says it's clearly intends for Photoshop Express to be a gateway into purchasing the real thing because it exists entirely online. Although native versions are available, but they're more apt than the program, and you can only manipulate one image at a time. This sounds a lot like Photoshop Elements, similar to Elements. So he says it's almost the final word. He says it's almost ridiculous to consider Photoshop Express Editor a worthy contender after considering the huge number of worthwhile alternatives. The fact that it exists as a pop-up on a page says more than that we ever could, although some of the effects are genuinely entertaining. And then the last one is PicMonkey. Now PicMonkey is content with being a bit of a novelty. Instead of offering users granular control over the images, PicMonkey lets editors add overlays, clip art that ranges from arrows, stars, and hearts to party hats and sunglasses, text and textures to existing images. It's also got options to adjust exposure, rotate and crop, sharpen, resize, but that's pretty much it. It's basically the idea here is put images on top of it, and it has a $4. They have a Royale
monthly subscription.
Yeah, $4.99 a month. Okay. And if he picks a winner, he says GIMP is our favorite free photo editor. Okay. Because of the sheer number of features it packs into it. It's the closest to Photoshop that you're going to get without getting close to Photoshop. He says it's nothing like Photoshop, but that's a point in favor in its favor. And that's it. So that's it. So that's his recommendation.
And for anyone wondering,
yeah,
indeed, Computer America, if you did not know this, we actually have a free software section where we actually provide links to some of our favorite free software at Computer America.
Oh, we do.
And GIMP is actually our one of them up there. We had that up from day number 1. We like it. I mean, even though yes, it's very feature rich and it can kind of intimidate users, all those features are very necessary if you want to get into photo editing. So it's Photoshop, but it's like Photoshop, but it's free, but not as good as Photoshop, but it's still very powerful. And by the way, GIMP, all of our Linux users out there, we just had our Linux show last night. GIMP is definitely a favorite of the Linux community because it is powered by GNU.
Yeah,
so,
and I don't think does Adobe make Photoshop for Linux? I don't think they do they?
No, I don't believe so. I believe that's a Windows and Mac only product.
Although I think 365 allows you to do it in the cloud.
Yeah. So maybe there's a web-based application for it, but I mean Linux users generally don't like spending $1,500 on software. So I mean GIMP is everywhere in Linux.
There you go. All right. That's our roundup for.
I'm glad that the editors at Max and PC chose that one because that's one that we would have chosen as well.
Yeah, there you go. So we're in sync with them.
Yep. So all right. So this next story, this one, full disclosure, Intel, they're a friend. We have them over for tea. They're lovely people, and they're also sponsors. This article is from CNET, and the PC market is reviving, and so is Intel.
Oh, okay.
So good news there. So the world's biggest chip maker ended 2014 on a solid footing, thanks in part to its reinvigorated PC business. However, the mobile division is, kind of dragging them down a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So the personal computer isn't back, not yet, anyways, but it's not dead either. We've seen that plenty of times. People want to say that the PC's dead. Mm-hmm. Not so much.
Nope.
They keep selling.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they do.
So the changed fortunes of the once downtrodden PC could be seen front and center in Intel's latest earnings report. The company wrapped up a solid 2014 by announcing its first full year of revenue growth since 2011. Finally. So another quarter of better than expected profits, driven in part by the rebounding PC revenue. So the results synced up with Gartner's assessment of the desktop and laptop market now experiencing slow but consistent improvement. Craig?
Yes?
Do you know why the PC market would have a slow and consistent improvement over the last year?
Why, Ben?
I'm asking you. I hear you host the Computer America show. You might know something of the matter.
What, the PCs aren't dead? Because
Yeah, why are they not just dead, but why are they slowly improving consistently?
well, possibly because of the power of the new operating systems that keep coming out for it. With the I think that has a factor to it, and
You're saying the growth is thanks to Windows 8.1?
no, the upcoming Windows 10 is going to help. Also, they have newer, faster processors, and and people need PCs. You can't do everything on a PC on a laptop or on your smartphone. It just isn't going to happen. There's definitely a place for them.
They see now. I would say that the PC growth is probably thanks to the fact that computers in the in the past 10 years they've definitely they're good enough to do what you need to do with them. Like they can last you 10 years. Although I think it's gotten to the point where the computer outlives its usefulness. Although some people in the chat room might disagree, PCs tend to become slow and almost unbearably slow. And even though they haven't broken yet, even though you can still turn them on and technically use them, I think you just don't want to after a point. So I think we've hit that magical period where every year you're going to get a certain number of people who are just upgrading for the sake of upgrading. They've had their computer for 5 or 6 years, it's not broken, but they want something new. They want something better and faster. So I think, the slow, when everyone was saying, oh, the PC's dead, it was from that drought where people had, purchased their PCs, and instead of buying a new PC every 2 years, people were now buying PCs every 5 years, every 7 years, every 9 years. It's one of those things. So I think, we've jumped over the slump, and now we're just going to get a steady, continuous growth of PC sales.
Especially when Intel and companies like are coming out with such amazing innovations. The computers are doing so much more and having so much more built in. People say, gee, I like my computer to do that. And I think that's another...
I mean, there's plenty of incentives to upgrade, but it's also just the fact that people want to upgrade, and not that they, not that their old computer is broken. It's just they want to upgrade, and certainly, between Intel and a few of the other manufacturers, there is plenty of incentive to do just that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like cars. I know when your mom buys a car, she loves driving it until it goes into the ground.
I do the same thing. My car is 15 years old at this point, and I will probably put another 100,000 miles on it.
But then those people that want to get the new things, the new features, the new that they keep adding into cars, they want to get a new car, and so
and luckily, in the car front at least, people tend to be driving their cars longer than they have in the past. They tend to keep their cars for another 5-6 years, but the majority of the market does only keep their car for about 6-7 years, and then they switch over, and then they get a new car.
Yeah, exactly.
So the PC business is kind of doing the same trend.
Yep, exactly.
So but back to the article from CNET. Apparently in 2012, 2013, Intel they had low overall sales, but in 2014 they snapped out of it, and their revenue rose by 6% to $55.9 billion. Intel's fourth quarter revenue was also up 6%, and their net income rose 39%. So they're just across the board earning more money. And Intel, I know they're not the only microprocessor manufacturer out there, but they're very, very big. They're very, very powerful, and so when they go up, you kind of get a sense of the entire industry in general, because if they're making more and they're selling more processors, that means those processors are going into phones, they're going into laptops, they're going into tablets, they're going into PCs. I mean, they're going everywhere. So that means technology in general is going up. So very good. They have a couple more numbers here. I don't think that we really want to go over. Yeah. Just know that Intel looking up and the PC market in general looking up.
There you go. That's good. That's always good news to hear. This next story from Maximum PC, Paul Lilly. We were talking about a little bit in the chat room with one of our chatlings who actually has one of these. He has a pair of Google glasses. Evidently, today, Google is killing the Glass Explorer program. and they're hinting at better things to come, according to this article. They also have a new project. This project has a new chief, according to some big changes to the Google Glass project. The first of which is now being overseen by a former Apple executive and founder of Nest, which Google purchased for $3.2 billion a year ago. Okay. The former operations manager will still run the daily operations. She'll just now report to this new one. And he says also, you can kiss the Explorer program goodbye. Google has decided to shutter its Glass Explorer program as it moves into the next phase. The next phase? What may that be, you ask? Well, of course, they're alluding to Explorers they asked Explorer owners to be pioneers, and to do what they did.
Yeah, they actually have a quote here saying, as we look at the road ahead, we realize that we've outgrown the lab, and so we're officially graduating from Google X to be our own team here at Google. We're thrilled to be moving even more from concept to reality. As part of this transition, we're closing the Explorer program so we can focus on what's coming next.
That's very true. So as of today, that's January 19th, this is the last day to get the Glass Explorer edition. I don't know why you'd want to do that, because they're alluding that something less expensive and more consumer-oriented is down the road. So, unless you want to get that, I would say, hold off. Google didn't say, though, specifically, what the future holds, adding that you'll see the future versions of Glass when they're quote-unquote ready. So, no date announced. It could be a month from now. It could be a year from now.
Knowing Google, they like to take their sweet time, especially in their research and development. I mean, a lot of their research part of their company doesn't actually see the light of day until they have every little, nuance of how to turn it into a moneymaker worked out. Like, they don't mind leaving something in the shop for years upon years upon years. I mean, just look at the self-driving car.
Yep.
I mean, we've been hearing about it probably for the last 3, 4, maybe 5 years, and yet it's not even going to hit the roads until 2017, 2019.
Yep.
So
well, it'll be that long with Glass, because they have so many other things to work. Glass, they'll have less hurdles to overcome, I think.
Yeah.
However, he does say we wouldn't be surprised if Google decided to show off a new prototype at its Google I/O conference later this year, though it will be interesting to see what the new vision entails. Ooh, there's a double entendre there. Okay. So stay tuned. We may see more about Google. It's certainly not dead. It's not dead yet.
In fact, it's better than not dead. They graduate. It's no longer research and development, and actually the people who did buy the Google Glass, they've probably purchased a collector's item / novelty. Like, it's not going to be an actual product. I mean, Charles Tindall, he likes his apparently, but it's more of a collector's item at this point for $1,500 because it's graduated from the lab to an actual product, but I'm sure the final product is going to go through some design changes. It's going to go through some manufacturing changes. Like, it's going to look completely different and hopefully a lot sleeker, a lot nicer, and a lot cooler, frankly, than the current iteration of the Google Glass.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
I'm not saying it looks uncool, but it looks uncool.
Okay.
I guess is what I'm saying. All right, and unless you have anything else to say about that, I have another story here.
Yes.
This other story is also from Macs and PC, but this one is a shocker really, because I thought this had already happened, sadly enough. Radio Shack may file for bankruptcy in February.
Oh no, it's going to die?
Oh, it's so sad you have that queued up. All right, so so any nerd over the age of 20 can probably remember a time he or she would frequent go to the local
Radio Shack.
Radio Shack. It was the go-to shop for electronics and geek fare, though we're talking a lifetime ago in tech years. Fast forward to today, and the reports that Radio Shack is heading for a bankruptcy filing. Perhaps as early as the first week of February. Sadly, we can't say that we're surprised.
Well, where are we going to go for electronics if you can't go to Radio Shack? I mean, where else can you go?
Amazon, Newegg, Tiger Direct.
No. I'm talking about corner store. Where can you go?
Nowhere, because we don't live in a society that you need to go to the corner store anymore.
Well, I remember
Amazon
times
has 2-day shipping.
I need a cable or something, and
Go to Walmart.
go to Walmart. Maybe.
Go to Walmart.
Maybe they might have it, but adapters and stuff, you're not going to find all that stuff at Walmart, are you?
Order it off Amazon.
Yeah.
Think ahead. I mean, the things that you could only get at Radio Shack, you can get almost anywhere online now.
Yeah, online. You still have to order it. Yeah.
Oh, boo-hoo. Craig, if people had your concerns, Radio Shack would not be going out of business.
Now, someone says you can go to Fry's. But
you can go to Fry's. You can go probably H.H. Gregg would have some. I mean, there are other places. I mean, Greg, this concern that you have over where am I going to go if I need something split second?
Yeah.
If people had that problem, Radio Shack would still be in business and doing well.
Yeah.
People don't have that problem.
Evidently not.
They don't. So Radio Shack has posted losses for the past 11 quarters.
Yeah.
That's like almost 3 years. There we go. 11 divided by 4, whatever. In a filing, the company revealed it had $62.6 million as of November 1st, including $43.3 million in cash and $19.3 million in borrowing availability. That's not much for a chain with around 4,300 stores.
Wow.
So, yeah, no, that's not a lot of money for how big they are and how big they used to be.
Yeah, but read that next paragraph.
It's sad to see Radio Shack reduced to irrelevancy after getting a start. After getting a start with a store in Boston 94 years ago,
Yeah.
It did well for many years, though began to fizzle in the internet era, like I was saying.
Yeah, exactly.
They had an article written in September offers a great read on what went wrong, or more precisely, the many things that brought Radio Shack to this point. In particular, is a quote from Ed Fox. Saying that, and the quote is, "Call it a death by 1,000 cuts. Radio Shack is left with all of these stores and not much differentiation. The big box competitors like Best Buy," Fox points out.
Because I can go to Best Buy and get components.
You can go to Best Buy, you can go to Walmart, you can go to H.H. Gregg, you can go to Fry's, you can go to. There are plenty of places. Like before, Radio Shack was the go-to place for anything. Well, I guess 94 years ago they were probably actually selling radios out of a shack, so radios, and then I'm sure they evolved into telephones. I remember going there for corded and uncorded telephones, and then eventually computers, that kind of thing. But now computers are so popular, everyone has the cables you need. Everyone has them available. I mean, it's not just Radio Shack.
Yeah, it's the passing of an era, because but you're right. I think for the most part it's sort of like what happened with Blockbuster, and and we're going to see happening with the GameStop, or all these things where the internet is just crushing these retail stores, because so many times.
But this is just a personal experience with Radio Shacks. If you've been in a Radio Shack in the past 2 years, they're depressing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they barely have enough inventory to cover their walls, and I've been to maybe 5 or 6 different ones, all up and down the East Coast. They barely have the inventory to cover their walls. They have maybe 1, maybe 2 people if you're lucky. I mean, it's turned into some kind of solitary confinement for some poor, college student that happens to be working there that day, and it's just not a fun place to be.
No, you're right. It's not.
It's a shadow of what it used to be.
Yeah, it's a shadow of what it used to be. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I guess it's just a sign of the times.
And again, there are places to get cables. I mean, the consumer isn't missing out here. It's not a great passing, but I mean, 94 years. That's a long time company. It's just they just became obsolete, I guess.
Yeah, they did.
Or at least they didn't stay competitive because everyone kind of edged into their territory.
Yeah. That's true. All right. Well, I don't know if do we have time to start another story?
You can probably tease it.
Yeah, I can. Well, we can tease a couple of them here. For example, we've got the Marriott hotels evidently have decided against jamming personal Wi-Fi devices. So if you go to a Marriott, they're not going to force you into using their Wi-Fi. And this is kind of an interesting story. This is one of the things that we're going to be talking about.
That seems like it should be a non-story. I mean, they shouldn't be jamming your own personal Wi-Fi devices at any rate.
Well, I guess they look at it as a source of possible income.
Oh yeah, I can definitely see how it would be to their benefit to
to do.
it would be in their benefit to charge for Wi-Fi that they only provide, but I mean, kind of sleazy. So glad that they decided against it. I'm sure the public outcry did not help at all.
Yeah. Also, Google posts another Windows 0-day security hole. They keep finding these. What is with that? These are some of the stories. We're also going to talk about an anti-drone interceptor called the Rapier. Okay. This is some of the stories we got. And also, Google is getting closer to a universal real-time translator. Wow. Although they say in this article the support for Elvish and Dothraki are still lacking in this story.
Do you know where Dothraki's from?
No, I don't know. I'm not familiar with that. That's probably some fantasy role-playing game, which I have no idea about.
Oh, it's Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Okay. No, I'm not a gamer.
They're the Horse Lords, the Dothraki, whatever.
No.
You call yourself
Also,
a nerd.
Yeah. No, I don't.
I bet you if I asked you where Superman's, Palace of Isolation was.
North Pole, and it's and it's the Fortress of Solitude.
Fortress of Solitude, Palace of Isolation. What's the difference?
Also, we have the stories. AT&T took a $10 billion hit, but they're hoping you won't notice it. These stories and more are coming up here on the Computer America Show. We're coming to you live on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network. We have our show reminder winner of the week coming up as well. So stay tuned. And you have a half hour more to get into our Logitech contest before we close the doors on that at midnight tonight. We'll be right back. A News Tip Bulletin review from Marty Winston also coming up next. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission is to protect and enhance the lives of companion animals and the people who love them. Their no-kill rescue shelter is open year-round, making it easy for people to adopt their best new friend. This year, Brother Wolf will find homes for over 2,400 orphan dogs, puppies, cats, and kittens. All have ended up as an orphan through no fault of their own. Brother Wolf has created a safe, nurturing environment where these special animals can heal emotionally and physically until they find a lifelong home. Their life-saving transport program brings dogs and puppies from overcrowded shelters in the south to rescues in the north where homes are easier to find. Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is a 501c3 organization. To learn more about their life-saving work and to make a donation, visit their website at www.bwar.org. That's www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number. 1-866-663-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So, disable the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and up to 4 rooms. And there's no equipment to buy. That includes your free HD TV upgrade, your free DVR upgrade, and your free professional installation. And the best part, the pristine digital picture and sound. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. So, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV. Disable the cable, cut costs, and get more. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV.
I've been expecting you.
Yep.
This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Sangled Pulse LED speaker. Sometimes, the early entries in a category get enough things wrong that you think the category itself is a non-starter. But then, when you least expect it, a new product gets it so right that you end up just grinning. That's what happened to us with the Pulse LED speaker by Sangled. It comes with a master unit and a satellite, each shaped enough like a BR-30 flood lamp that it fits most places those bulbs go. As a 2700 degree Kelvin warm white LED, each is good for 600 lumens in a directed 105 degree pattern. An amplified speaker inside delivers 13 watts of audio per channel, enough for most residential rooms. Bluetooth 2.1 EDR makes it compatible with many sources, and an app offers handset or tablet control of volume and brightness, as well as a variety of equalization presets. Bottom line, the Sengled Pulse LED speaker fits stereo sound behind bright floodlights that fit almost any BR30 fixture. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. 33 minutes past the hour in the second hour on a Friday. All those things happen, and when that happens, it means it is time for a show reminder winner of the week.
All right.
Or should I say a buddy list winner of the week?
No, it's a show. Where'd you go, buddy list? We haven't called that in a long time.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, let's do it. We'll do our show reminder winner, and the show reminder winner of the week is Arnie Kazdoy. Arnie, congratulations. You win the Logitech wireless rechargeable touchpad T650. It's valued at $80, and you are our winner. So that's it. We'll have another winner next week. But again, congratulations to Arnie Kazdoy. And again, enter in our show. Get our show reminder. Okay. If you didn't receive it this past Monday or the Monday before, then obviously, and you were our subscriber, then obviously when we converted over, you might have fallen through the cracks. Oh, sorry, we tried to export everybody over, however, you just go to computeramerica.com. That's the simple answer, and just go to our show notes page. It's right there. The button's right there in the middle of the page, and not the show notes page. Excuse me. Go to the one that says a weekly newsletter, and it'll go to a page where you just put your email address, your first name and last name, and subscribe. If you're already on it, it will tell you you're already there, and you don't have to worry about it. However, if it accepts it, then you know that you fell off the list, and just resubscribe to the show reminder newsletter. It's free. It's the only publication which tells you who's going to be on the Computer America Show for the entire upcoming week, and we also post the show reminder winner in the newsletter. And every Friday from the list of subscriber names, we draw a winning name to win that really nice prize from Logitech. So make sure that you're subscribed. And as I said, you have a little less than a half an hour to enter our Logitech contest, which closes at midnight tonight Eastern Time. So Ben and I are doing computer and technology news. It's brought to you by Swimwear Utilities. And whose turn is it, mine or yours?
Your turn, please. Go for it. All yours. Okay,
well, I mentioned that Marriott hotels have decided against jamming personal Wi-Fi devices. Okay. This is again by Paul Lilly. They issued a statement saying it has decided not to block guests from using their personal Wi-Fi hotspots at any of its locations. It's a decision that comes 3 months after the chain was fined $600,000 by the FCC for jamming personal Wi-Fi networks at the Gaylord Opryland Resort and Convention Center, which Marriott manages, while at the same time charging travelers and exhibitors as much as $1,000 per device to access its own Wi-Fi network. Wow.
I remember that. That was a big deal.
Yeah, it was.
Because they were having some kind of convention.
Yeah. Marriott International listens to its customers, this is their quote, and we will not block guests from using their personal Wi-Fi devices at any of our managed hotels. That's what they said in the official statement. Marriott remains committed to protecting the security of Wi-Fi access in meeting and conference areas at our hotels. We will continue to look at to the FCC to clarify the appropriate security measures. You know, it's just basically they got caught, I think.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Prior to the fine and subsequent reversal of policy, Marriott argued that blocking personal Wi-Fi hotspots was in the best interest of its customers over security concerns. Yeah, they're concerned about our security. And
Well,
this,
real quick, I mean, security concerns, that is loosely, thinly veiled. You know, obviously that they want you to use their network so that you can pay them money. But I mean, there is some sort of security concern there because let's face it, if you connect to an unidentified Wi-Fi network and you give them permission to access your computer, I mean, that is a security hole.
yeah.
But I mean, to block it completely, that is, not right.
Yeah. They in their statement they also said Marriott said the ban was intended to protect visitors from quote rogue wireless hotspots that can cause degraded service, insidious cyber attacks, and identity theft unquote. Marriott's stance didn't fly with guests, some of which have accused the hotel chain of simply wanting to protect itself from lost revenue that it generates from its own wireless network. So there it is. I mean, they got caught, and so they're trying to say, oh, well, we were concerned about, but basically they got caught jamming, and they shouldn't do that, according to the FCC.
They got caught, and then they tried to cover it, but I mean,
yeah, $1,000 per device to access its own Wi-Fi networks. That's
more than the device.
Yeah, really, exactly. Well, there you go.
All right. Yeah. So this next story, this one, we've been following this ever since. I don't know what the first one we did about net neutrality. We've been following this one a long time, and this time it looks like the pendulum is finally swinging the other way. Sprint, you may know them. They sell phone plans and things of that sort. Surprises everyone, and supports Title II neutrality rules.
Okay.
This just happened today. So, in an interesting turnabout, Sprint today officially threw their support behind the reclassification of ISPs under Title II and the creation of meaningful Title II-based net neutrality rules. They said that in a filing with the FCC, Sprint declares that they're okay with the process as long as the rules are smart enough to protect reasonable network management, which thus far has never been an issue. ISPs like Verizon, AT&T, and Comcast have claimed that Title II rules will stifle investment in the broadband sector, while privately admitting to investors the rules are no big deal. So Sprint, in contrast, makes it clear that Title II rules, done correctly, will have no impact on the company's willingness to invest in network infrastructure. So not only is this part of a surprising momentum shift towards Title II, which they had all the petitions and the FCC filings and the public comments, that kind of thing, a couple months ago to push towards Title II. It's a pretty clever move by Sprint in that it specifically puts T-Mobile and CEO John Legere, who've been making huge waves about being consumer friendly, directly in the spotlight as a company that's publicly opposed to Title II protection that could actually help consumers. So that makes Sprint the only one of the large carriers to support Title II, which they annoy everyone else who is not for it. For anyone wondering what Title II is, Title II, that is, think of the phone systems. Like phone lines, they're put it by the local government. They are forced to run them, maintain them, that kind of thing, and then you purchase phone service through one of the many providers who actually use the infrastructure that is put in place.
Right.
So they're looking for internet would be the same sort of thing, where the local government would, put down the infrastructure for internet, and make sure that you have the ability to purchase it, and then you would just go through one of these companies, be it AT&T, Comcast, Verizon, whoever you purchase your internet from, and it'll be your responsibility to go through one of these providers.
Okay.
So yeah, that kind of thing helps people who don't really have a choice of, hey, pay us $10,000 so we will run a cable out to you. Title II kind of protects those people, and then it also protects against price gouging and shooting it up. I mean, it's definitely more controlled.
It evens the playing field, is what it
I mean, if you think the the phone system or the way that the phone system works here in America is good, then internet being something similar can't be that bad.
Hmm.
Can't be that bad.
Yeah. I would tend to agree with you. Um,
I mean, I've never heard anyone say, "Oh man, the phones around here they suck." It just doesn't happen. It's definitely a good move to push it towards Title II.
okay. And Sprint did it first.
Sprint is one of many. I mean, if you want to know who is for and against, I mean, you could do a quick Google search, and Google, I mean, between Google and Amazon and Yahoo, pretty much anyone who uses the internet, for their business, they all support net neutrality, Title II, that kind of thing. Whereas everyone who actually is the internet, they're your Comcast, your Verizons, your AT&T, whoever owns the actual whoever was actually paid to and put in and maintain the infrastructure, they're the ones against net neutrality. And it seems like the majority of the common people out there, the common folk, that'd be you guys, the majority of them seem to be for Title II reclassification of the internet. So. If you we've covered it before on the show. If you haven't heard of it, please look into it. Very important, and hopefully it will get pushed through, or at least that's our thoughts here on Computer America. If you feel something different, I mean, always feel free to call in and argue it. But that's
anybody's calling
worth looking into.
Probably going to be with one of the big companies. Probably works for them. They call it. So
that's okay.
Okay. Well, this next one coming from Popular Science under their technology banner. Google is getting closer to a universal real-time translator. That's right. According to this story by Dan Moran, he says, Google's making it easier to understand languages that you might not know thanks to an update to its Translate app on Android and iOS. 2 updated features improve your ability to navigate unfamiliar languages, whether they're in printed form or being spoken aloud, and while they may be modest changes for Android users, owners of iOS devices will be getting these abilities for the very first time. Okay. For signs, menus, and other printed materials, Google's added real-time visual translation is there. Okay. Previously, you had to take a picture of text you wanted to translate and wait for Google to perform its magic. In the latest update, simply tap the camera icon in the Translate app, point your phone's camera at a sign, and you'll see it show up translated more or less instantly. And they actually show an example here. They're looking at a menu here, and they're showing it in one, and they're showing it translated immediately, instantaneously, which is very, very cool. Even better, your device can now do this without an internet connection. Whoa! Without an internet connection. Great, considering that you can't always depend on your smartphone being online when you're abroad. It supports translating between English and French, German, Italian, Portuguese, Russian, and Spanish. I did some quick tests with the new app, mainly using French and Russian languages that I actually know, according to this author. As ever, the word lens feature can be a little inconsistent. In one test, it thought the black and white bars from a crosswalk sign were words, but it often gives you enough context to know what's going on, though it does balk at idioms. For example, an attempt to translate a sign reading Chien lunatique, which is essentially the French equivalent of beware of the dog sign, yields a slightly less frightening moody dog.
There's an ill-tempered dog over here.
We have a moody dog here. You got to beware of the moody dog. Okay. But overall, the translator functionality is still a step up from not knowing the language at all. And with street signs and menus, it can be decidedly faster than a phrasebook. The app still does depend on you telling it what language to look for. It's not smart enough to figure that out yet. Okay. Translating signs is handy, but you can't generally avoid human contact when you're traveling. And personally, the author has always had a lot harder time with listening comprehension than reading comprehension. Fortunately, Google Translate now provides automatic language detection in its conversation mode, Although automatic may be overselling it a bit, you have to at least give Translate a leg up by telling it which two languages it should be listening for. Then it can figure out who's speaking which language. Okay. While the word lens feature is perhaps the more flashy, the conversation feature impressed me more. While Google Translate previously had a live conversation mode, it required repeatedly tapping a button each time you wanted to translate something. The new features one-tap operation is Star Trek once you get it going. That's cool. Although I admit my test mainly featured me having bilingual conversations with myself, Google Translate did a pretty solid job of handling whatever I threw at it in French, Russian, or English, except for its occasional strange forays into product placement. Okay. I also noticed it insisted on translating that is into c'est. In French, you should always write C''est rather CEEST. But a check showed the same result in Google's web-based translation tool, so it's a problem of the engine rather than the app. Google's not the only company working on seamless translation. Later last year, Microsoft subsidiary Skype announced a feature that aims to let people who speak different languages hold a conversation by automatically translating what they say as they speak. Right now, however, Skype's technology only works between English and Spanish, and it's still only available to select users. We still may be way off from the universal translator of science fiction, but I'll say this much. Using your smartphone is still way better than sticking an alien fish in your ear. The Babel fish from Hitchhiker's Guide.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, yeah.
Exactly. But, we are getting closer to it. I mean, I remember when I first saw the universal translator, I said, that's never going to happen. That's going to be so far off. But here we are with our smartphones. Our smartphones are starting to act like universal translators.
Yeah, and hopefully the real-time feature really, gets a leg up, because I admit I've been trying to learn German, and I still want to, because there's still something nice about communicating to someone in their native language. But I mean, if you wanted to go visit a country, I mean, sure, you'd have to go learn, please, thank you, this one, that one, a few phrases, but it would just be so much easier
just to speak,
to have an iPhone and speak it.
Yeah, and then have it translated. Yeah,
and I can completely understand the reasoning behind you have to actually, you have to tell it which language to listen for. Which one are you coming from and which one are you going to? Because let's take the Romance languages. There are words shared all over the place between Italian, French, Spanish, that kind of thing. So I can definitely tell why they made it. You have to signal which languages you are looking for. Makes sense.
Yeah. So Google Translate is automatically downloaded to your iPhone, and I got to check to see if my Google Translator has been updated. I don't see it here yet. I'll have to check it after the show. Yeah.
Well, the thing about Google is they put a lot of money, or they drop a lot of money into research and development, and they rarely charge for it. So this could be good. I mean, Skype, I believe, is working on about the same thing. So if you wanted to call someone and have a Skype conversation, I believe they're working on real-time translation as well.
Yes, they are. And it's good. That's one of the cooler things they're going to be able to do with your smartphone.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's see. Which story? There are so many stories. There's, let's do this one. This one's probably one that most of you have already seen. SpaceX actually put out a Vine of it. Craig, you might want to look at it. This one comes from Ars Technica, and it's the SpaceX releases video of Falcon 9's explosive landing.
Oh, boy, it landed hard.
And they put out a 6-second Vine of it because, when you are a multi-million-dollar company who is launching things into space and having them land back on Earth, why not release video of your landing on Vine? So, it's a 6-second clip, shows it coming into the barge, and if you've ever played a video game, it doesn't land at the right angle, there's too much speed, and it hits the deck of the barge and explodes.
Yeah, exactly.
It is not, it doesn't roll over, it explodes. It's crazy. So, today under the heading of "Close but No Cigar," SpaceX released video of its Falcon 9 boosters' failed landing following last weekend's successful launch. This was the company's first attempt at retrieving one of its boosters for reuse, and it publicly stated that it wasn't expecting success on the first try. Why?
Okay.
So, but the video will clearly provide some information on what went wrong in the landing. I mean, just looking at the video, it looks like the angle was off. Like it was trying to counter its own momentum,
Yeah.
and it honestly, to me, it looks like it overcorrected.
Yeah.
So like it was trying to come back in for the landing on the barge because this is out at sea. They have a barge, and the lander, or I'm sorry, the booster was supposed to counter his own propulsion and land probably not softly, but pretty soft.
Yeah.
On the deck of the barge so that they could reuse it because NASA. They're litter bugs. I love what they do, but they're, you see the boosters peel off and they fall into the ocean somewhere, and, the fish use it as a fish tank. I don't know, whatever they do with boosters.
Or a barrier reef or something. Exactly.
As some kind of great booster reef. But SpaceX was apparently trying to reuse them because, they are a privately funded company, so, I mean, that's profit. And their first attempt, admittedly, they said they probably weren't going to get the first try, but it's close.
Well, it's close.
For an object that came from not outer space, that came from orbit through the atmosphere back down. I mean, that's as close as you get. You actually hit the barge.
Yeah, it did hit the barge. Yep, it did.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
For a first try.
Yeah. So maybe another couple of attempts, they'll probably get it right. They'll figure out where it's all in the math, right? So.
Physics. Everything you do, it all started with physics. So I mean, it was a good first try. The video that come from it, I'm sitting here, I'm watching it over and over again. Worth checking out. It's as good as any Michael Bay explosion you have ever seen, except it's real. And it's nice try, I guess. I mean, it's better than I did.
Yeah. Well, this story here from Wired Magazine is they have where you can see the world's greatest stolen artworks in a virtual reality museum. They actually I don't know if you know this, on the 18th of March in 1990, two thieves disguised as Boston police officers walked into the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, handcuffed the guards on duty, and walked out with 13 artworks valued at $300 million. Wow. The haul included pieces by Rembrandt, Vermeer, and Degas. The works were never recovered, but Ziv Schneider is including them in an upcoming museum exhibition nonetheless. This is a student in NYU's ITP program, is the creator and curator of the Museum of Stolen Art, a virtual space dedicated to artworks that cannot be viewed physically anywhere in the world. And it's a museum that's only possible in virtual reality. The virtual museum was designed to look just like a real one. The works hang on the spare white walls, surrounded by ornate frames. An audio guide walks visitors through the halls. Recreating this traditional museum environment was a chance to restore some dignity to these stolen works, which often just exist as thumbnail images on FBI and Interpol websites. These things are probably in this, I guess, private collectors, that don't want to ever resell them. They just want to own them.
What, the ones that were stolen?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so sad. I mean, not sad. I mean, they're just art pieces, but they're someone's legacy, and then someone goes and jacks them and keeps them for themselves. That's not really what art was supposed to be.
Yeah, the author of this says, I wanted to get the viewer to see the pieces in context the same way they might in real life. That's what she said. She's also planning 3 opening exhibitions. One is dedicated to famous stolen paintings, including those from the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist. The other 2 exhibits focus on art looted from Iraq and Afghanistan, because following the U.S. invasion in 2003, nearly 14,000 objects were plundered from the Iraq Museum, one of the largest thefts of art in history. I think it's an interesting attempt, to do this. you certainly can get to see it. They actually have a video of it. It's like, and it's virtual. You literally walk through the museum and you see all the works of art hanging on these white walls, and they're all stolen. Very interesting idea. Very interesting.
Better than just a pamphlet brochure they hand out and they just have a blank space on the wall saying, and here's where so and so's art piece used to hang.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, at least they can still be enjoyed. Maybe if you have like a class or something,
well,
someone can still enjoy them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, listen, that about wraps up the show. We got the weekend coming is upon us, and then when we come back, we're going to have Babel.com is going to be on the show. Babel.com is a
very close to the Babelfish.
Yes, very close. Yes, exactly. That allows you to learn a new language in an interesting way using your computer. And it's
90 seconds.
And we're going to have the president of the company from Babel on the show in the first hour, and then in the second hour, of course, we'll have computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. Are you going to catch any movies this weekend, Ben? Or you probably not.
No, I'm pretty good.
I'm pretty good too, and. But thank you so much for joining us tonight. Again, you get about 60 seconds
60 seconds.
Enter in our contest for Logitech before it shuts down. What can I say? We're looking forward. We're looking forward to being on VoiceAmerica.tv. That's our new network. That's going to be
keep an eye out for the video for that.
Yeah, and that's all going to be coming up on the on. When you go to ComputerAmerica.com, all the news and everything about that will be posted as soon as we get everything formalized. So just check out the website. And, of course, our show reminder email newsletter will also have more information about that when we get it. Anyway, have a great weekend, and Ben and I will see you on Monday night. So until Monday night, this is Craig Crossman hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday night.
10 seconds.
Sign up for the show reminder.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, everybody, and thanks again for watching. All right, and Ben and I will see you on Monday night. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.